etc. And you think of nationalization versus naturalization, and logically you have issues of jurisdiction. So that must be in your mind already. We can't deal with these subject matters and then you move on and not retain certain concepts in your mind, because your concepts will be wrong and you'll misunderstand what this movement is all about. Jurisdiction is of three kinds, and it is of subject matter, of the person, and that is to render particular judgment which may be given, etc. And then it's jurisdiction of land or territorial. And so you're dealing with person, so you're dealing with person, pardon me, I apologize, it's a misspell. You're dealing with person, subject matter, and territorial. So therefore, whenever you're dealing with jurisdiction of subject matter, the subject matter means jurisdiction of cases or a class of cases of which a particular case belongs. Therefore, any issue that's before society or persons or issues before court is a classification. So therefore, it must be specifically identified. Am I correct? So you must be clear on that, whether or not the nation state or the institution of the nation state or the court has jurisdiction in the subject matter. Then based on nationality, whether they have even jurisdiction over the person. And then again, whether the person is a corporation or a natural person, because persons means corporation until you specify natural. Then territorial. Therefore, you wouldn't be talking about Russia having jurisdiction in the store, would you? Why? It's a different political state. Am I correct? Now, foreign does not necessarily mean distance. Foreign means jurisdiction. Therefore, it is important for our people to understand the broad scope of what jurisdiction is, what it means, and how it applies to us. Therefore, nationality is important because this immediately comes into play. Now let's scope over here to this map for a second. These are different continents, aren't they? Right? Now you're Moorish American. Where's America? Here, going all the way down to here, including the adjoining islands and the contiguous seas. Let's go over here. This is Europe. United Kingdom right here. They've been occupying us right here, particularly in the middle area, even though they've been occupying up here and occupying there. Their major source of power comes from right here in this area. Now, is Europe America? No. Is America Europe? No. That's two different jurisdictions, isn't it? Yeah. And so, how is it that the people here that's under this political colonial jurisdiction are measured or identified by colors? Light-skinned green people, dark-skinned green people, light-skinned black people, dark-skinned black people, dark-skinned white people, white-skinned black people, dark-skinned white and green, whatever, whatever. Don't matter what color you are, that kind of dynamics, which is a violation of law. Because jurisdiction becomes skewed, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Why is that? It's because it's under occupation by a foreign power. They're skewing the issues of jurisdiction because if you pay attention to this, you can uncover fraud. In other words, a person whose estate has been whittled out from under them under his cheating would start thinking about their estate, wouldn't they? But if they don't understand these issues, it's never a subject matter, isn't it? Is it? And they can live their whole life busting their keisters, poor as they can be. At the same time, everybody else gets rich, and they can't figure out how it happens. They can be in a community living next to empty buildings since they were child, and other people can come from other nations, go into them, immediately begin to operate, and they can be just as poor as them. Don't even have, matter of fact, they may not even know how to speak the language, local. They ain't worrying about who the mayor is, the president. I mean, it's of interest, but that ain't really working for them. And all of a sudden, you see next year they got a Lexus, selling the sister's eyebrows, somebody else's hair, controlling the resources. As a matter of fact, sister might trying to get a job from him next year because when she gets off of church, get the whole deal. And this is a issue of what? Jurisdictional powers, and everyone's aware of this except our people, because they're not taught these subject matters, because it's not part of our what? Social curriculum, community curriculum, or interest, etc., etc. And they have no idea about territorial jurisdiction, because it doesn't matter what colors they are. Therefore, a person that's grown that has a mentality like that would be called an infant. And if they have any heirship, they would be called infant heirs. And collectively, they would be called a minority because they have the mentality of what? Boys and girls. Of course, you don't call them that because they might want to fight. But I'm presenting to you the legal conditions and the legal status that has been artificially created in order for certain politics to be socially maintained here with limited interruption. I.e., now logically people begin to recognize that something's sorely and particularly wrong here. You got to name it, don't you? Well, tell them it's racism. They'll shut up. But what are you going to do about it? Oh, let them march up the street. Make them pay for the permit, though. See how that works? And they still get paid. And they go back, still in the same condition. Well, how do you keep them from figuring this thing out? Give them a Negro leader guy. Then give them some corporate funding that keeps them passive. And it goes on and on and on. Nationalization breaks that process, doesn't it? It breaks that course of events, doesn't it? There's a restoration process that takes place in there, and it must be done with knowledge. It's not done with emotionalism. Therefore, there's certain things that must be understood and known, isn't it? Now we're back to nationalization. And I'm giving you just a little bit of understanding what Noble Drew Ali has done in the national side of this movement that has not really been taught to the people properly. Therefore, they're not prepared to take their places in the affairs of men. Now, if they're not capable